Welcome to the Top Shelf Dusters podcast. I am Amanda. I am the fact checker for this crew, and tonight we are joined with Jesse.
The New York Rangers are likely going to trade their third captain in, 10 years? That's kind of ridiculous to me, don't you think?
Seems right on par for the Rangers. Joined with Cass.
So technically, the way I understand it, the NHL season starts July 1st with free agency starting, which means Florida's reign as Stanley Cup champions is now over.
Not till Monday. We'll give them 2 days.
Close enough. Long enough.
And with Ethan.
I really don't have much to say.
There you go.
Don't panic, Dallas fans. Jim Nill knows what he's doing. It's not like he hasn't won GM of the Year 2 years in a row. So calm down.
Are
Did that get him?
Is there a lot of hoopla?
Oh my god!
Lots of hoopla.
That's
why I can't read those Facebook groups, dude.
The number of people who thought Dallas would take a defenseman at 29, thinking, "Hey, we have a need," almost like NFL. Because in the NFL, whoever you're taking in the first round, you're probably going to see him play. But in the NHL, it's not like that. And so people saw a forward get taken and they were like, "Oh my gosh, what are we doing?" And then Chris Tanev, which we'll get to, it's everyone's freaking out. It's like, calm down.
Fun times. So, if you have been paying attention, the NHL Awards were earlier this week. The NHL Draft happened. Did you guys watch the award show? Did you see any of it?
It was so cringe. So, don't get me wrong. The guys' impressions were pretty good. But just
I thought that was the worst part.
Production were horrible.
I thought,
if you close your eyes and he did his Trump impression, it was pretty close.
What are you talking about impressions? I didn't watch it because I thought it started later, and then I realized it started early, and it was an hour long, and that was it.
Yeah.
Which was long enough. It was longer than it should have been, quite frankly, in my opinion.
Who was this impressionist?
Oh god, I had his name. I googled him.
Matt Friend.
Matt Friend. Yes.
But he pretty much made fun of Nikita Kucherov in Kucherov's face, and it was just like, "What are you doing right now?"
That was where I shut it off.
So
I was like,
awkward.
"This is really
it's
terrible."
so awkward.
I had to shut it off there. But aside from the production, there were some announcements of the winners because we didn't hear all of the award winners. Nathan MacKinnon won the Hart and the Ted Lindsay. Quinn Hughes won the Norris Trophy. Connor Bedard, of course, everyone expected to win the Calder, and Connor Hellebuck won the Vezina Trophy. So I'm pretty sure we all expected 95% of this, right?
Yeah.
No surprise.
Hart and Ted Lindsay was a shock for me, for Nathan MacKinnon.
Did you not think he was going to win both?
No.
Really?
Cass, you were the one who wrote down. Do you have those by chance, or?
He threw them away.
Probably the one. I hate clutter, and my wife fills the house with clutter. So anything that's over a week old, I'm like, later.
Bye.
Because I remember thinking Austin Matthews would win Ted Lindsay. I think.
I know there was one of us that thought Austin Matthews was going to win it, but I mean, Nathan MacKinnon got both, and I don't hate it. I think that obviously, I thought that he was going to win the Hart after he got shafted on it a couple of years ago, 3 times actually. But yeah, I mean, Quinn Hughes we expected, Connor Hellebuck we expected, so not really too many surprises there. Anyone who thought that anyone other than Connor Bedard was going to win the Calder Trophy, you're out of your mind. I saw some people saying it should have been, oh god, the dude on Minnesota. What was his name? Faber. Brock Faber.
Minnesota gets too much stuff already.
Minnesota's looking like they're going to be nasty in a couple of years.
Yeah, I think so. Did you guys see the thing about Connor Ingram? He went to get his picture taken with the the Bill Masterton.
Yes.
What did he win? And the photographer was like, "Well, we want to wait and see who's going to win it."
Oh, it's like that was
it
announced,
was already announced
like 2.5 weeks ago, sir.
Yeah,
And
I'm the one.
I'm actually the guy who won it. Imagine how awkward that must have been. That was like that sounds like when the cop in Colorado, I don't remember which player it was, but a cop in Colorado didn't let a player come through into the parade because he was like, "No, you can't."
That was at St. Louis, I think, right?
No, it was Colorado.
Wasn't it, was it?
Yeah, I don't remember
like
which player it was though.
Michigan, if it was cop related.
Anyway, moving on from that there, Ethan. We also did have the NHL Draft. Who went number one? What was the kid's name again? Oh, Macklin Celebrini that we've been talking about. Celebration Celebrini. He went to the San Jose Sharks, as everyone anticipated. There was no surprise. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, here's one thing to give you a perspective on what it looked like. I watched with my family, who knows almost next to nothing about hockey. And as we watched him have the dreaded interview that every player had to have with Leah Hextall, every one of my family members said, he looks really upset. And
that he went to the Sharks?
The San Jose Sharks.
I mean, would you have expected otherwise? We all knew that was coming, right? We all knew that was coming.
Yeah. No.
The biggest surprise in the top 5 was Anaheim picking Beckett Seneca, because did you see his reaction? He got called and he was like, "Oh my god!" Like you could read his lips. It was pretty funny.
I think his was the most genuine reaction, like out of all of them.
Yes,
that was like fun to watch.
Yeah, he had no idea. No one expected that.
It was safe to assume we all watched the draft, right?
I'd watched the first round of the draft.
The whole thing.
I did watch the first round, yeah.
Every time Leah Hextall interviewed one of these boys, she would like do the interview, and at the end of the interview, she touch
the knee.
Leg.
Yep.
Like, my wife was like, "This is kind of weird." She's like, "Double their age." It's just, I was like, "Oh my god, this is hilarious." And like, I don't get a lot of exposure with her, and just every time I see her on TV, I'm like, why do
you and everyone else, Cass, you and everyone else always questions why Leah Hextall is on the television. And I mean, at least she didn't make anyone sing like Emily Kaplan did last year. Was it with it was Will Smith?
Yeah, it was Will Smith.
That's right.
It was Will Smith. That was that was so cringy, dude. I shut the television off because I got secondhand embarrassment from that. I was like, no, shut it off.
I'd still rather have to sit through that than Leah Hextall interview.
Yeah.
So
I'd rather projectile vomit into a trash can. in a disgusting men's room.
A porta potty. Before this year, I feel like we didn't get, at least I didn't get a lot of exposure to Emily Kaplan. She's phenomenal.
She is.
I understand the Fresh Prince thing is, but she was great. And the other woman, Megan Chaka,
yes,
apparently is like a co-founder of Stathletic. It was great too. Like that panel that they had, all things considered, between 7 weeks and it was Buchagras, I think.
Buchagras,
right? Outstanding panel for the draft. Like NHL hit that one out of the park, except for Leah Hextall.
That's ESPN. There's nothing they can do about that. I'd rather listen to John Buchagras over Steve Levy, personally. Steve Levy kind of pisses me off.
Yeah.
Aside from Macklin Celebrini being picked first overall, the Utah Hockey Club got to do their first ever pick as Utah, considering that they are not having any sort of history follow them. And they picked 6th overall, and they went with Tija Ginla, who is the son of Jerome Ginla of the Calgary Flames.
Drafted by the Dallas Stars.
They are the first...
Now, this just makes me feel old, like having like the kids of players come in. I'm just like, when did I get old enough for this to happen?
They look like babies, too.
They do.
You know what's going to get worse in 10, 15 years when we see how these players have aged? And it's like, damn, I remember when he was drafted. It's going to be terrible, right?
I don't want to like be that guy, with going into deep history. But fun fact about the whole Jerome Iginla thing, he was drafted by the Stars, traded for Joe Nieuwendyk. And that's how Jerome Iginla ended up in Calgary. And then Joe Nieuwendyk, he was part of the Cup team and then became our GM for a while and did a terrible job.
As most players who end up in that role typically do.
Yeah. I put this in the notes just to make a mention of it. There were two interesting pick trades in that first round. One that I saw a lot of people having a gripe with was Minnesota giving up a 3rd round pick next year just to move up one spot. And I forget the guy's first name. His last name, it's like Zeev. Yeah. Oh, Zeev is his first name.
Yes.
It was an excellent pick because no one thought he'd be there. I forgot what pick it was, but my whole
it was 12. It was 12.
12. They went from 13 to 12, and my whole thing about how you go about NHL drafts, outside of the top 3 picks, you're most likely not going to see the player playing next year. Like I said earlier, it's not like the NFL. So moving up one pick, especially if you know the team ahead of you is scouting the player you want, then it's a great move because that 3rd round pick next year, it's likely going to be in a trade package at some point, or it's going to end up being something that's even further down the line. So I think Minnesota made a good move there. The other one was Carolina giving up their 1st round pick for 2 2nd round picks this year. And at first, if you guys saw me in the Freeze the Puck hockey chat, I thought it was stupid. But then after looking at it, I think it's actually a good move. Amanda, you're a Canes fan. What do you think?
I am, in fact, a Canes fan. Thank you for noticing. In a way, doesn't surprise me. The Canes still have a lot of good, what's the word I'm looking for? Prospects lined up. Some that are still over in the KHL. Like, they have still a lot in their pipeline. So I'm not shocked that they moved this 1st round pick. So I wasn't too hung up about it like I've seen other people be.
It could be a smart move. I haven't looked at the 2nd round picks. And again, the 2nd round, these guys are gonna take some time to develop.
I'm not gonna lie. I woke up this morning at 9 o'clock and they were like, and at pick 136, I'm like, oh shit. Oh, going to bed. Going back to bed. that was my reaction this morning. I watched the 1st round. I'm not even paying attention to the 2nd round. Sorry, guys.
Gosh. But I think it's interesting, the pick moves. There were a ton of pick swaps. We're not going to get into all of those.
There were a lot. Yeah.
It's a fascinating thing to try and analyze because when GMs are drafting, especially outside of the top 3 picks, it's almost like you're drafting from the future. You're looking at these guys Doc. Who your scouts have looked at, you've gotten reports about and all this stuff, and you're drafting for a player that's going to be playing for you. Hopefully, if you're still the GM, in 5 years. And I think it's fascinating. I don't have the brain capacity to actually wrap my brain around it. But I can wrap my brain around Fanatics jerseys because they were on full display last night.
They sure
and
were.
Today. And that kind of leads us into our next topic about Fanatics
Before we
jerseys.
go into it.
Oh, Cass.
Well, like Tom said in the comments, I was very surprised Yzerman dropped 20 for the Islanders. So we're going to be able to see the Islanders waste another offensive powerhouse just like they do Matt Barzal and get nothing out of him.
Love to hear it. That is music to my ears. Anyway, back to the Fanatics jerseys. They did debut them at the draft. As we all know, unfortunately, last year the NHL and Fanatics announced a partnership which begins this season. It's going to be for the next 10 years. Fanatics said that throughout the design and development process, they collaborated with the NHL, the teams, the stakeholders, the NHLPA, the players to ensure that what they are putting out there is going to be of quality. From what we saw, it didn't look too bad. I know there was some complaints that you could see through some of them. Did you guys see that at all? No?
I didn't see any of it, but they're all the home jerseys.
Right.
So the away jerseys, that's going to be a different story.
Well, these are home jerseys that we're saying you could see the gear through the jersey.
You could, you could if you looked closely. Had someone not pointed it out to me, that wouldn't have been the first thing I saw for the home jerseys.
But then add sweat.
Right.
And then
Blood,
add
sweat,
away
and tears.
jerseys that are white.
Right.
Predominantly white.
We'll see. I'm not going to hold
It's
my
risky.
breath. I'm not going to hold my breath. I will wait until some other fool decides to buy them, and I will find out on Twitter whether they liked it or not. I'm sure. If anything, Fanatics sucks on Twitter. We'll say something about it. So
The one thing I will say, and I know this was an Adidas staple, so there's no way Fanatics can do it. But when we went from Reebok to Adidas, the dimples on the shoulders was such, I don't know why, but it just elevated the jersey. It made them look better. And now we're back to just the plain. And it's just...
you mean with how they kind of like rose up off the shoulder pads?
Like if you look at any of the jerseys on the shoulder,
Mm-hmm.
there were like little like divots,
Oh, okay.
little circles all around them.
I will
If you look
at
at
my
like a
jerseys
picture, yeah.
when I get up.
I think it made them look better.
Anyway, I am going to put up a video of the Fanatics jerseys here. I don't know, man. They look what we were expecting.
The
but
player reactions tell all.
yeah, and this is also at the same time going to be the best of their best, which I don't really know what the best of their best is. Do any of the players have their name spelled properly or incorrectly? I guess we'll have to figure out.
I love how the Ducks had the captain patch on it.
I saw that one. Yeah, I just saw that. They don't look too awful. It seems like they're sewing on the patches and not gluing them on using the fabric glue, which is what I was kind of expecting considering it's Fanatics. But what do you guys think?
Was it only certain teams that had the laces out with
Yes.
Adidas, or did all of them have them?
I don't believe they all did.
Okay.
Bruins still has them.
Yeah, and so did
Rangers
Stars.
still has it.
Stars.
It's hard to tell. And like you said, this is the best of the best. So most likely, if you want a jersey that looks this good, you're spending a pretty penny.
Yeah,
Or
because
Looney.
Because they do have those 3 tiers that they're doing as well with these. They're going to be doing like the on ice version, and they're going to be doing like the whatever the premium is going to be. And I'm not sure what the cost was. We went over it a couple episodes ago, but I think those costs were in Canadian dollars too.
Yeah. And even these best of the best don't look that great. The Stars one just looks awful. It looks so
I mean, it looked awful
raggedy.
before too, though.
I agree.
Okay, Cass.
Yeah, they just need to do all the neon ones.
Look at it. It looks like a rag that you just pulled out of the drawer.
It is a rag.
Oh gosh. Okay, rags.
No, I haven't
At
heard
least
that
they've
one
ironed
before.
them out, you know.
I'm not gonna hold my breath
Let's
on
move
these.
on. This is depressing.
Yeah, I'm not
Let's
gonna
move on.
hold my breath on those.
Did you have specifics for Ducks and Kings?
So I do have the Ducks jerseys just to show. They're showing their new logo that we went over last week, the whole new thing. Trevor Zegras looks miserable to be there like he always does, not a surprise. I think that those look cool. We did go over a couple episodes ago about how they were going to be doing a whole entire orange kit. I don't hate that. I think it looks actually really, really good.
I like it.
I like it also.
I wish more teams utilized color in their pants. The Tampa Bay Lightning do that, and they have a really cool bolt going down the side of their pants.
That is pretty dope.
Um,
Zegras just looks miserable, dude. Like,
Yeah,
just
he
get
really
him
does.
out of Anaheim, please.
I stand by what I've said about them in that it looks like the alternate from a few years ago.
Yeah.
Minus the eyebrow and the colored eye in the Doug mask.
I'm kind of shocked they didn't do something with the stick tape, whether it was another like nod to something. You know what I mean? It's just like weird. Supposed to look like tape, but it looks like these. Like I don't know. I thought they would have done like a something an AN or something, so it's kind of still in that same kind of like shape. I don't know.
Yeah.
ANA.
The C is interesting. We'll wait for it to come back, but it doesn't look like the same shape. It's very curved. You see what I'm talking about? Or am I crazy?
No, I think you're right.
I don't hate it.
I think you're right.
You can see the pads underneath that when they go back to that close up though. You can see the CCM.
I don't even want to. Oh God, that's going to be terrible. And then the Kings also they debut theirs as well.
Yeah,
Those look sick. Like if I didn't hate the Kings, I'd buy one, but I hate them, so I'm not going to do that.
Is that a matte black helmet?
It is. I like that teams are doing that too. I think it looks really cool. I like the matte black. I don't hate the chrome domes. I thought those were cool. I like the logo for this Kings one. I have nothing to hate about it. So we'll see what the numbers look like and whether they're going to be off kilter when you get one from the team store.
I think it's I like the nod to the purple and yellow crown at the bottom of the Chevrolet logo.
The Chevrolet logo.
I wish LA just went back to purple and yellow.
That would be sweet. I'm telling you, bring back the Burger King full time. Burger King full time.
Burger King.
But Fanatics,
was just such a terrible jersey.
It was the best actually. Fanatics jerseys. We'll see what they look like. If anyone gets one, I'd love to hear your opinions on them. Whether it was worth the money that you paid for it, whether there were any quality issues. Because I love collecting jerseys, and I feel like for the next 10 years, I'm not going to be able to buy one. So, and that's not an exaggeration.
Tom asked, I think he's asking you, Jesse, any truth to the rumor that if you hold up a new Rangers jersey to a mirror, it says NY Booty Clowns.
NY Booty Clowns. Yes. That is a fact, Tom. And then if you also look at yourself in the mirror, you get a red nose and a painted face also.
And then Alan, you could see any lettering before on lighter colored jerseys that aren't dark blue or black. White is even more transparent looking. That's what you get with air knit jerseys.
Do you think people are just more aware, given the fact of everything that happened with Fanatics and their baseball
uniforms?
Thank you, uniforms, specifically like the pants, like that made such big news that everyone is more hypercritical now, like really nitpicking.
Well, that was like their first chance for Fanatics. Like that was their first crack at the whole actually being on the pitch, field, ice, whatever. So I think it's
Marty Walsh even said that too. He said they brought that up in the players' meetings this week that the players were worried about backlash, just like the MLB jerseys. So it's something that they know about at least. All right, Ethan.
Kat is also worried about the white ones.
I think we all are.
Under it.
I think we all are. I mean,
depends what you want to see. Why are you watching hockey?
Just make sure that they're wearing shorts or something so that nothing is shown through the thing. But I think that that's really something we're all concerned about, especially like Amanda said, after what happened with the MLB that we spoke about. It's not a promising outlook. And I'm just a pessimist always, so I'm always expecting the worst.
Yeah.
You just think
when
that
the name Fanatics.
Yeah, and you just think that they would know, like, okay, these are the problems we had with the baseball uniforms. Let's make sure this doesn't happen with the NHL ones too. You would think they would have problem solved between then and now.
Yeah, but you would have thought that before they took the field in the MLB, that the Fanatics would make sure, hey, maybe we should make sure these aren't transparent. Right?
With the way that this company does business, none of that surprised me.
Mass produce.
It's kind of crazy with the reputation that they have. That they have 2 of the 4 major sports right now for jersey or like contracts too. It's kind of wild when you think about it.
They have a monopoly. Sorry, Amanda, go ahead.
I was just going to say, to answer Tom's question real fast, he was asking if they were available for sale. Not until September will they be available for people to purchase.
Go get your Adidas before they're all sold out.
They're already on sale on NHL.com. I was looking right before we started doing this. They're already starting to go on sale on NHL.com. So
look at Ross's.
Now.
I'm going to look at Ross as well. I'm going to look at Dick's Sporting Goods. I'll take a look. We'll see what happens.
Even if you can get a blank and then get it customized.
I know.
And that Bruins jersey over there was $30 from Burlington Coat Factory. Like, it's like, why not? You know?
I bought a Devils one that was $20, and I hate them. So I'll buy anything that's hockey related.
Well, front office news. Ken Holland and the Oilers, they agreed to not extend the contract.
They agreed to tell each other to go to hell.
Yeah. Which, if you're Ken Holland, you've got to be like, phew, because you've got McDavid and Draisaitl coming up.
Just retire. Just go. Be like, I did what I could. We got to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. Almost had it. I'm gonna go sit on a beach somewhere. That's what I would do.
But we live in the days of reduce, reuse, recycle.
You
so
love
I'm sure
that.
He'll have a job somewhere else.
He joined the Oilers in 2019. They made the playoffs each of the 5 years that Ken Holland was GM. He bolstered the Oilers roster by bringing in Warren Foegele, Zach Hyman, Evander Kane, Cody Ceci, Matthias Ekholm, Brett Kulak, Evan Bouchard, a bunch of people. He brought in Sam Carrick and Adam Henrique at the trade deadline. I think he did a good job there to try and build around McDavid and Draisaitl. I just don't know what that team needs to go all the way and win it.
Move out of Canada?
You never know. He also fired Jay Woodcroft in the beginning of the season, brought in Chris Knobloch. They made it to the Stanley Cup Final. That was a good move. They pushed it to Game 7. So, I mean, I don't think that there's any sort of blemishes on his time here in Edmonton, aside from the fact that they weren't able to win a cup. But I don't think that's his fault. I think he did everything he could to try and make that happen.
I heard a rumor this week that he was going to Chicago
as GM,
as something.
Yeah, I don't think
nice young team with assets. So
what is it? It's Kyle Davidson in Chicago right now. I don't think they would have a reason to get rid of him just yet. Yeah. I think that could be good for him and for the team too. It's possible because they made some pretty good moves here at the draft. They have Connor Bedard. I mean, they could use a guy like Holland.
Amanda, while we're talking about the draft, how weird was it seeing Don Waddell up there for the Columbus Blue Jackets?
That was strange.
Waddle baby.
It's still very strange because it's like the first very public moment for him to not be with the Canes. So yeah, very, very Twilight Zone feeling.
They brought up
I saw him up there and I was like, oh yeah, he's on the Blue Jackets.
They brought up New York Rangers legend Rick Nash to make their pick.
Bruins legend
New York Rangers / Boston Bruins legend Rick Nash.
He led Columbus to that one Stanley Cup they didn't win.
The good old days. Moving on.
That trade cost me Ryan Lindgren. So pissed.
I am not. I love it. Thank you so much. Moving on for front office news, Claude Julien was hired by the St. Louis Blues on Thursday as an assistant coach. Claude Julien was the former, or is the former Boston Bruins head coach. He won the Stanley Cup with them in 2011. He coached in Montreal until the 2020-21 season. He was fired in February of 2021. He was an assistant coach for the Canadian national team in 2014, World Cup in 2016, and I think that this is a good move for St. Louis. They need to do something with their coaching roster, and I think Claude Julien is a good addition to that team.
I think it's interesting that he was brought in as an assistant coach
and not the head coach.
Yeah.
Well, they just
they made their interim guy.
They did
head coach, right?
Yes.
Drew
I forgot.
Bannister, yeah.
Thank you, Drew Bannister. Yes.
I mean, as much as I've been bashing the reduce, reuse, recycle, I would at least maybe make Claude Julien the head coach on this one. I don't. Yeah.
You really do know
So
how to,
Go against
contradict
myself,
yourself very often. Very often.
We don't even need to do a devil's advocate for Ethan because he does it himself.
We're just gonna have Ethan do the whole show arguing with himself. I think it would be
Different
worth
outfits.
it.
The Claude Julien one is weird. Like back in the day, he coached Montreal. They fired him, and the Bruins hired him. And as soon as the Bruins fired him, he got rehired by Montreal. And he's kind of been off the radar. He did, World Junior stuff here and there. And now all of a sudden, I guess he was working for the Blues like part time as like an advisor, and then they brought him on as an assistant coach, which is cool. But like, I can retire already, dude. Like, when are you gonna enjoy life? I don't get these. As soon as I can flip and retire, I am done. I don't give a. Obviously they're in hockey and stuff, but like, I don't get it. Like, all
you
the
probably
travel,
work harder than these guys.
all the media. It's, ugh. But good for him.
He could be like a coach whisperer.
But
The other move though that happens with this, and I've never actually heard of associate coach. Does anyone know what that is?
They're doing it in association. I have no idea.
it's in between head coach and assistant. It's like in a middle tier. You know what I mean? So they're technically higher than an assistant, but they're not the head coach.
Okay.
That makes
Steve
sense.
Ott. Steve Ott's the guy that gets that role, whatever the responsibilities of that are. Props to him. I love seeing him stay in the NHL. He's actually the very first Stars jersey that I ever had, Steve Ott, when he was a Dallas Star. He was a fun guy to watch and great guy. When you met him off the ice, he was super friendly, unlike his on-ice personality. But to see him kind of find a career in St. Louis, which is where he ended his playing career, good for him.
Yeah, he's been with them since 2017, which I didn't realize. He's been there for quite some time. And like you said, they're extending him. They're promoting him to associate coach. He played an instrumental role in helping them rise in the standings during the regular season, especially in 2019 when they won the Stanley Cup. I think that he's been useful for them, obviously, and they have a reason to keep him.
He's a grassroots guy too, because he went from player to just small roles in the coaching staff, and now he's, I guess, one from head coach.
Moving on up.
That's where he is.
Yes, so that's what I was just looking up, like the difference between assistant coaches and associate coaches. So all associate coaches are technically assistant coaches, but not all assistant coaches are associate coaches. With the Blues adding him, there are now only 7 teams in the league that actually have associate coaches. So they are the one step below the head coach.
So in the hierarchy, it goes head coach, associate coach, assistant coach. Okay.
Exactly. And typically, from what I was reading, if a coach were to be fired mid-season and they're not looking to immediately replace them, that associate coach is going to assume that role as head coach. If head coach has to step away for something, that associate coach is the one who takes the spot.
Kind of like what happened with Scott Arniel up in Winnipeg. And even when he was with the Rangers. I'm pretty sure he stepped in when he was an associate coach for the Rangers for one of their head coaches who was out. I don't remember who it was.
So it's almost like, because if you don't have that role in your organization, the assistant coach becomes the interim coach. Right?
Yeah.
So it's like Steve Ott with Claude Julien coming in. We want to show you that we value you, so you're going to be the next guy. And
That's a nice
we don't
gesture.
want Claude Julien to be an interim if it comes to that.
I mean, that's a nice gesture, I think, for a guy who's been there for 8 years, you know, and an organization who's bringing in a guy who was a head coach in the NHL multiple times. So that shows that they have some sort of belief and trust in him should something happen to Drew Bannister, which I don't think it will. I think that the Blues performed pretty well under him, but we'll see what happens in this upcoming season.
Yeah.
From what I understand is the players love Steve Ott too. So like he's a player's coach too. But as a Bruins fan, it hurts so bad to see Claude Julien on the St. Louis lose after they beat the Bruins in the Cup in 19. Kind of a pain in the butt. Just like knowing Mark Savard was on that team and now he's at the Maple Leafs.
Who wants to take the new rule stuff?
So, there were a lot of new rules that were voted on. We mentioned some of these rule changes in an earlier episode, but they finally got voted on and approved, particularly to 4 rules, one of them being Rule 38.2, in situations subject to coach's challenge. A coach's challenge now will be permitted to take down a penalty for puck out of play. This only will apply to delay of game penalties when the puck is determined to have deflected off a player, stick, glass, or boards, and not a judgment call on how the puck left the defensive zone. So this is to take down a puck out of play penalty. You cannot add a penalty should they miss it and then they can't go to review for that. So
and I think that's how it typically ends up being.
Yes.
There's more cases where they got it wrong.
Yes.
Versus they got it wrong and they called it versus they got it wrong and didn't call it.
Yeah. Additionally, they are going to change Rule 63.8 regarding line changes following a dislodged net. The defensive team cannot make a line change in the event its own goaltender accidentally dislodges the net. The old language applied to just skater. So anybody on the team who was a skater. So
this is good.
That infamous clip of Henrik Lundqvist throwing the net off of the pegs back in, I don't remember what playoff it was, but that infamous clip, they wouldn't allow a line change for something like that.
And you know what? Here's a minute difference that it will make, like a chain reaction difference in the game. Goalies are going to be a lot more careful kicking off the posts. And if a goalie's being more careful kicking, like for moving across the crease, they're going to move across the crease a lot slower. Now, when I say a lot, it's microscopic, but I think you're going to see more goals being scored across crease lines because goalies are a little more timid to kick off the post.
That'll be interesting to see. That'll be interesting to see come the end of next season whether the amount of average goals per game increased or not.
Yeah.
Additionally, Rule 76.4, face-off procedures regarding centers. Following an icing, the offensive center will also now receive a warning for a face-off violation. Previous to that, it was just the defensive player. Rule 75.3, unsportsmanlike conduct. This is if a player was sitting on the boards. I remember us mentioning this one. The referee now will provide the offending team, coaches, and players with one warning regarding players sitting on the boards. And then he will also advise the other team of that. After one warning in a game, the team precipitating the warning will be issued a bench minor penalty for future violations. This is to ensure safety for the linesmen and the referees. There was an incident, I think it was either this year or last year, where a linesman was cut by a player's skate because it was hanging over the boards not onto the ice, but as they were trying to get onto the ice.
Which that rule, that was changed mid-season, I think.
Well, they finally approved it, if anything.
Oh, okay.
Maybe they were just adhering to it at that time, but it's finally been approved by the Board of Governors.
I think the icing one is the most confusing to me. Maybe just because I didn't fully understand the procedures on that. I guess they were quick to kick whoever was taking the face off. That was the one you read before that one,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
That one makes the least amount of sense to me, but
I thought they were going to do a couple other coaches challenge ones as well. There was with the what was it? The high stick. The high sticking call. It seems like that one wasn't brought into this, but we shall see if that changes at any point here in the future as well. The schedule is going to be released in 4 days.
4 days, and that's going to include I think the only international one for the regular season is the Florida Panthers and Dallas Stars in Finland, and that's in November.
Are you going to that?
Oh, I really wish I could.
That would be awesome.
It's so expensive.
I know. That would be sweet as hell, though.
I think the other ones or the other international events, they're all preseason.
Preseason,
which preseason schedules are already out. If you haven't caught that,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I think
I
know the
right.
Stars.
Yeah, they have
preseason one. Yeah.
I did not pay attention to that at all.
No one does. Yeah, I mean, nothing really crazy about the schedule, other than I think what will be most interesting to see is how it's going to go with the Four Nations tournament, which they did announce six players for the U.S. and Canada. We don't have time to get into that right now, but how they're going to go about all that. How long are we going without NHL hockey? Stuff like that, but nothing too crazy.
We'll find out on Tuesday. So, as far as the preseason games go, like, I don't know about Amanda, you other guys, it doesn't really affect you, but like, it's usually the games I bring my kids to because it's usually cheaper and they have no freaking clue what's going on, but they still get the experience.
I take my kids to none of the games.
I'm looking forward to Tuesday so we can figure out our next Top Shelf Dusters trip.
I was just about to say the same thing. Yeah. And maybe I'll end up at this one. We'll see. It's a big maybe.
Yeah, don't blow us off this time.
You will end up at you don't have a choice. You had a choice this year because it was the first one.
We're going to Seattle.
I mean, that's fine if you want to do that. That means I don't have to go anywhere. But I highly recommend that you bring like something to shield yourself from the public.
And a ton of money
to fit in with the homeless.
Yes. Trades?
Yeah, trades and signings, and this is a huge list. We're going to read all the main ones. We're not going to get into all the stuff, but let's start with a couple rumors. If we have time at the end, we can talk about some free agent rumors, but there's two that really stand out, and Jesse, I would be besmitten. I don't think that's a word.
Might be.
Take the first one. Remiss. I'd be remiss if you didn't take the first one.
Well, it seems like the New York Rangers are looking to trade yet another captain. This would be the third captain that they've traded in the last decade or so, because it was Ryan McDonough and Ryan Callahan, who both went to Tampa Bay. So I'm thinking that Trouba's going to end up in Florida. This is probably the most likely situation. Obviously not. I'm just being a douche, but it seems like he's going to be going to the Detroit Red Wings. There's a lot of talk, particularly that fired up this morning at day 2 of the draft. A lot of talk about him going to the Detroit Red Wings. The Rangers did ask Trouba earlier this week for a 15-team list that he would not accept a trade to. Currently, until July 1st, he has a full no trade clause in effect. It seems like they are looking to retain some of his $8 million salary cap. They're saying that they're going to retain 31.25% of his AAV, which is $2.5 million. How do I feel about it? That's a great question, Ethan. Get rid of him.
Does he suck that bad that you're okay with eating 2 change on him?
it's his contract. I don't think he sucks. He's making $8 million for the next 3 years, and there's a lot of speculation that he would be on the bottom defensive pairing. That's not you can't pay a guy $8 million who's going to be a third string demon. Like, just doesn't make any sense.
$9 million, call him Darnell Nurse.
I don't want to do that. I'd rather just have Edmonton do that.
So you mentioned until July 1st for the no trade. Does that expire on July 1st?
Yes, because July 1st the new portion of his contract kicks in, which is only a 15-team no trade.
Oh, so if this happens, it will be after July 1st.
Yes, or he could waive it now.
Okay.
But like I mentioned,
who?
Go ahead.
No, go.
Just like I mentioned, lots of speculation that he might end up in Detroit. He is a Detroit native. It's possible that he would accept a trade there. So we'll see what happens on Monday or Tuesday.
Now, you mentioned Florida, but you don't mean Florida Panthers, right? You mean the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yes, because they like collecting New York Rangers captains.
Who was the last one that they sent?
They sent Ryan Callahan in 2012, I think, 2013. And then they sent Ryan McDonough.
Oh, yeah. Well, Ryan McDonough. I was talking more about you just said it.
Callahan.
Callahan, yeah. Segue, because with that trade, Tampa also sent their captain, which was Martin St. Louis, to New York. And Stamkos, the current Lightning captain, looks to also be going somewhere else. That was like the weakest segue ever, but you get where I'm going.
That was so painful.
You ruined it. That was just as bad as the NHL Awards show.
It was well, let me do my Stamkos impression by Tampa. Yeah, there's some panic coming out of Tampa because Stamkos has denied an 8-year contract offer for $3 million per year, which if you're Stamkos at 34, why you aren't taking that is beyond me. Unless you see the writing on the wall for Tampa in that Tampa's about to go into a rebuild mode. And if you're looking to win again, I can see why you wouldn't want to stay for 8 years. I could see him I could see him going to New York, but I think the more likely option is Toronto.
Toronto?
That's where he's from.
8 years times 3 is such a slap in the face. It's not even funny.
If you're
such a slap in the face. Stamkos.
What?
You cannot tell me a player of his caliber is only worth $3 million a year.
He's
Think about
34.
it in 8 years. If the cap, I don't care.
That's
if the cap goes up $4 million, 8 more years, it's going to be $32 million more on this cap. It'll be over $100 million. You think you're going to get him for $3 million?
But that's a contract until he's 42.
Or a 5 times 5. Yeah, but if he retires in 3 years, he's screwed. He doesn't get any of that money. He probably wants a 4 or 5 year contract at $5 or $6 million. That's what I would give him.
I was seeing numbers at around 4 to 5 mil is what he was looking for.
What you got, Amanda?
I was just saying 3 is just a huge pay cut from what he is currently being paid. And like Cass said, for the type of player that he is, like I understand taking team-friendly deals, but that's a significant.
That's over half.
I think that's what it. Because my whole thing before this whole story came out, even throughout the season, when we were talking about his contract being up, it was like, does he want to stay in Tampa? That's the big question. This 8-year deal, that's kind of like you end your career in Tampa. I personally think a 5x5 would have been good because 5 years, that puts him at 39. He's likely done by 39. And it's a little bit more money, but I don't know. So, if I'm in Tampa, I'm worried.
About losing for the next couple years?
Yeah.
I see.
Losing Stamkos.
Oh, well.
Because that's just going to be a shot in the face.
I mean, it seems like he's 100% done. There was a post-draft Zoom call with Julian Brisebois, the Tampa Bay GM. He said he met with Steven Stamkos' agent this morning, and one of the big quotes is, our respective positions haven't changed following all of the trades that happened between Tampa Bay today, because there were a lot, which we will get into, but it seems like nothing's changed after even all of that has happened.
Cass, you had something.
I was going to say something, but I'll save it until we go over that trade.
Okay. The last thing I'll say, I'm going to stick to my guns on what I think's going to happen. I think he ends up in Toronto. It's where he's from. It seems like they're ready to spend some big bucks, even though I don't know where they're getting the money. Yeah. But
it's wild.
Hey, if you do like a 1 year, 2 year deal in Toronto,
and see what happens after that.
I'll come back to Tampa.
Who would you rather have, Bertuzzi or Stamkos?
Stamkos.
Okay, good. So, Ethan, you just admitted you'd rather have Stamkos, but you think Stamkos should only get $3 million?
For 8 years. And it would be performance bonus ridden. Just so many performance bonuses.
Is he at that age where he can get performance bonuses? I thought they had that's bonus overages for the next following years. Never mind. Forget me.
There's injury concern because he's had some major injuries in his career too.
He had clotting, didn't he?
Gosh.
For quite some time that kept him out. Yeah.
Broken leg against the goalpost.
Jeez.
Crazy. Anyway, let's talk about some trades.
No, actually,
wait, before you do that,
let's talk about
the best news of all.
Ethan's favorite player. Let's talk about Ethan's favorite player.
Future Hall of Famer Ryan Suter has been bought out again. And Jesse, you made a comment about this in the chats a little while ago when it happened. He's getting paid $12.9 million to just not play.
I would love that. Is there any unemployment in any part of this country that will pay me any sort of money to not do anything? Because I'll take it, please.
I think the best thing I saw this week after that happened was just give Jim Nill the GM of the year for 2025. After you buy out Ryan Suter, you deserve GM of the year next year. So just award it now.
Isn't he the one who signed him to this contract in the
first place? You know what?
Place,
people make mistakes, Cass.
Busted.
It looked good on paper at the time.
Kat says that Ryan Suter.
Cashes that paper.
Kat in our chat says that Ryan Suter is Ethan's man crush. For real. For real.
Yeah. Good riddance. I can't even tell you how happy the Dallas Stars fan base is.
So this is the final year of Ryan Suter's contract. The penalty is going to be incurred over the next 2 years. Year one, $783,000. That's not too bad. Year two, $1.43 million. Not bad. So,
and it saves them $1.4 million on the cap hit this year.
Yeah. So not too bad. And for him, it's a win-win because he's getting paid to do nothing. So good on you, Ryan. Well deserved to do nothing, I guess.
Yeah, and before I say take it away on the trade stuff, let me just group two things we have on here with the Dallas Stars thing because it's kind of relevant here. The Stars also today traded the rights to sign Chris Tanev to the where was it? Toronto. Yeah, that's right. And they got in return Max Ellis and a 2026 seventh rounder. This is another example of making something out of nothing because come July 1st, Chris Tanev was not signing with Dallas. He wanted too much money. We don't have the money. So Jim Nill turns it, gets a player and a 2026 seventh rounder. Both, I think, will be part of a trade package later on. We'll find out. But the other move they make, because now you've lost Ryan Suter, Chris Tanev, and you still have to re-sign Thomas Harley. So the blue line is looking very thin. They did re-sign Alexander Petrovic to a very small deal, 2 by $775,000, and there's more moves to come. So that's going to be an interesting storyline. How does Dallas fill this blue line?
In regard, completely different, not regarding the blue line. You think they're going to keep Duchesne?
I did see a report that they plan on having a deal done by tonight or tomorrow before July 1st.
Nice.
So he is they're saying he is off the market.
I think that's a good move for them. I mean, I thought he worked really well in Dallas. He made some pretty big plays. He scored the elimination goal in Colorado against the Avalanche. Poetry. Like, I think it's a good move for them. Yeah.
I think it's going to be a team-friendly deal. I think we're all going to be shocked at the number. Like an 8x3. It's not going to be 8 years, but
8x3 team-friendly. Gotcha. In regards to a lot of the other trades that have happened, the biggest one, in my opinion, is that Tampa Bay sent Mikhail Sergachev to Utah in exchange for J.J. Moser, Connor Geeky, a 2025 second rounder, and a 2024 seventh rounder. Utah's made a couple other big moves as well. If I could just find them really quick. I cannot find them really quick, but it seems like Utah's going to be in. I mean, they did sign Liam O'Brien to a $3x1 million deal. They signed Michael Kesselring, 2 years, $1.4 million. They re-signed Yusuf Alamaki, 2 years at $2 million. They're doing more than what I've seen the Coyotes ever do. Coyotes were only buying dead contracts just to take them on and do what they needed to do with them. These guys look like they're making moves to try and win some games, make the playoffs.
Real quick, just because you mentioned the Coyotes, have any of you gone to the ESPN app and looked at the standings? Because there's always like you can click a team to like get more info about them, but Arizona, there's nothing there anymore. It's the weirdest looking thing, and it kind of broke my heart when I saw it. Anyways, sorry.
One trade you were missing that you couldn't find. New Jersey sent John Marino in a 2024 fifth rounder to Utah for a second rounder in 24 and a second rounder in 25.
Thank you. Yeah. I think, like I said,
more defensive depth.
I think Utah's trying to make some moves to make a push this year because I don't think they're too far off. I just think that the way the psyche of the players playing in a college arena when they're when they're a major league team, that must have done something to them. I think that they could make a push and try and make a playoff push this year.
Oh, going back to the Sergachev trade, the thing that blows my mind is they traded him to make more cap room, supposedly. He's making $8.5 million. If you remember, a month or two ago, they traded for Ryan McDonough, and Ryan McDonough makes $6.75 million. You're telling me you'd rather have Ryan McDonough for an extra $1.5 million is bonkers to me. Almost $2 million. Crazy.
It almost
Don't
feels.
talk at once. It's okay.
No, I'm trying to think of how I want to say it. It feels like with the previous ownership of the Coyotes, the GM was like taken hostage with his hands tied behind his back.
This is what you're going to do.
Sudden, he goes to Utah and it's like this Smith guy is just like, hey, go at it, man. And now it's just like
it's the same GM too, so it's not like it's a different GM.
Right. But it's a different owner, and all of a sudden you see a different side of the GM, right? And it's I don't know.
Kat says they traded a young D and a center prospect for a turnover machine. I think she's biased. She may be a little biased. What other trades? What other trades did you want to talk about?
Do you want to just start from the top and
go
down?
Yes. Vancouver sent.
Oh.
Vancouver sent Ilya Mikheyev, Sam Lafferty, and a 2027 second rounder to Chicago for a 2027 fourth rounder. That's pretty silly. San Jose sends Kyle Burrows to LA for Carl Gunstrom. This one kind of surprised me. Calgary sends Andrew Mangiapane to Washington for a 2025 second rounder. Washington made some big moves too. I thought.
I think that's to replace Oshie in case Oshie doesn't come back.
You think that's going to happen?
Either that or health-wise, he might not play.
That's true. Columbus sent Alexander Texier to St. Louis for a 2025 fourth rounder. Washington sent
and then just to say it while we're here, they did sign him today to a 2-year, $2.1 million contract.
Nice.
So I don't hate this at all. Like, he was supposed to be one of the better prospects. He didn't pan out in Columbus. They didn't
like most of their other prospects.
Right? They didn't give up a crap load for him, and now they got him locked up for 2 years at 2.1. Like, if he becomes a third line center, it's a hell of a deal for a third line center.
Oh, I think it's a steal for St. Louis.
I think it is too.
Washington sent Beck Mallinston to Buffalo for a 2024 second rounder. Tampa Bay got fleeced again with Tanner Jeannot because they gave up all of these draft picks to acquire him, and then they sent him to LA for a 2025 second rounder and a 2024 fourth rounder. Didn't they give up like 7 picks for him? Something like
First,
that.
a second, a third, and a fourth, right?
It was ridiculous. This is... Go ahead.
I was going to say, I love this for LA, too. Like, you're not giving up a crap load, per se, to get him, and he is a good player. I think he was kind of buried in the depth chart for Tampa, so he didn't really get the playing time that they thought he was. So, he got traded for 5 draft picks from Nashville to Tampa. So that's pretty funny.
I just want to say to everyone who claims Yzerman wasn't responsible for Tampa's success and Brisebois was, this is the evidence that it was Yzerman. Like, the way Brisebois is running things, it's just running it to the ground.
A lot to the Detroit fans right now.
The Yzer plan. This is every Pittsburgh Penguins' favorite trade. St. Louis sent Kevin Hayes and a 2025 second rounder to Pittsburgh for future considerations, which Tyson, who's been on the podcast previously, said that, you know, he was excited that they got rid of Jeff Skinner. Was it Jeff Skinner, right?
No. Jeff Carter.
Jeff Carter, sorry. He was excited that they got rid of Jeff Carter, who was 39 years old, and then they just bring in Kevin Hayes, who's 32 years old. So their average age went down, but not by much.
And they also got the 2025 second rounder.
Right.
And it's future considerations, which everyone knows is a joke.
Which is nothing. 20 minutes prior to an autograph event at the NHL Draft, Vegas Golden Knights sent Logan Thompson to Washington for a 2024 third round pick and a 2025 third round pick. There were some Golden Knights fans that were upset about that, but he did say what's his name? Kelly McCrimmon did say that Thompson did request a trade out, so they did their due diligence. It does. I agree.
I think it makes sense.
Another great move by Washington. So now Washington in the last week, I've gotten Pierre-Luc Dubois, I've gotten Andrew Magniapane, or whatever the hell you say his name, and now they got Logan Thompson, and it's basically cost them a couple draft picks and Darcy Kemper, who they replaced with Logan Thompson, who I think is better. So good for them.
But how many goalies are on their depth chart right now?
Well, they got Charlie Lindgren too.
They do,
and
they
just
got Kemper, didn't they?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, Kemper.
They got rid of Kemper.
Oh, they got rid of Kemper.
Yeah. Oh, why can I not find this?
Where are you?
Goodness.
Yeah, the site that I use, I love.
There we go.
But they're not in alphabetical order. They got Lindgren and Thompson. It shows right now. So, but think about it. It's less than $2 million for their goalies. Charlie Lindgren's making 1.1. Logan Thompson's making $766K. That's not a bad goalie tandem for $2 million.
Tom says Hunter Shepard is in Hershey in the AHL.
Yes,
as well.
And they just won the Calder Cup back-to-back years with them. So.
Maybe I'm thinking of New Jersey, but they did get rid of one.
Which you might be, yes. This is Cass's favorite trade. Boston sends Jacob Lauko and a 2024 fourth rounder, which was pick overall number 122 to Minnesota for a 2024 fourth rounder, which was pick number 110. So they just went up in the draft this year. New Jersey.
Technically, all right. I just want to interrupt.
How dare you?
Boston also got a player back, Vinny Lettieri.
Oh, okay.
They already had 2 years ago. He played in Providence, and they're like, screw you, we don't need you anymore. He went to Minnesota, and now they're trading for him.
JK, we want you back. Please come back.
Yeah. Jacob Lauko was a fourth liner. He brought the energy every night that you like to see, and he was actually like, I don't have the stats in front of me. I probably sound like Trump right now, but if I'm not mistaken, he was very high on the list of drawing penalties on other players. You know what I mean? So, like, if they have a metric of like their penalties drawn per 60, I bet you he'd be right up there.
For the record,
look into that somehow.
Higher than Marchand.
Yes, without using his tongue.
For the record, I wouldn't want to sound like either of the presidential candidates. New Jersey sends Alexander Holtz. New Jersey sent Alexander Holtz and Akira Schmid to Vegas for Paul Cotter and a 2025 third rounder. That kind of surprised me. But after getting Logan Thompson out, they brought Akira Schmid in, which was a good move for Vegas, I thought.
Well, I think what was shocking for me in this one is on the other side, that New Jersey, we talked about it last week or on Tuesday. New Jersey needed to get rid of a player because they got Kemper. They already had Jake Allen, Schmid, and it was like, who are you going to get rid of? And I thought they had another one too. And they got Markstrom.
Yes.
From Calgary. Sorry. Okay, wait. They had Markstrom, Jake Allen, Kaapo Kakkonen, and Schmid.
Right.
And it was like, who's going to get dealt? I made the stance that it couldn't have been Schmid. I thought it would be Jake Allen because Schmid was like the
goalie of their future. Guy. Yeah.
Yeah. And here we are. That's the guy.
That's fine. I'd rather him trigger me as a Seattle Kraken fan and knock out the Kraken in the first round over the Rangers in the first round as a New Jersey Devils player. So it's fine.
Well, and the other thing they have to do is they do have to sign Kaapo Kakkonen.
I think
he's now the youngest guy of their goalies. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
That was all I had for trades. The next one was the Chris Tanev one that we already spoke about. So, yeah. We can go on to signings. Winnipeg signed Dylan DeMello to a 4-year, $4.9 million deal. Colorado re-signed Casey Middlestat to a 3-year, $5.75 million deal. I was not surprised by that at all. I thought Middlestat was going to stay in Colorado. Utah signed Liam O'Brien to a 3-year, $1 million deal. I almost said $1 million meal. That would be expensive as hell. Imagine
inflation.
Oh, I mean,
spicy tuna meal.
All I need to do is go outside, and I'm spending $1 million.
It's the new McDonald's special.
The Utah Hockey Club signed Liam O'Brien to a 3-year, $1 million deal. I said that already, I think. Vancouver signs Teddy Bluger to a 2-year, $1.8 million deal. And they also signed Tyler Myers to a 3-year, $3 million deal. And they also signed Dakota Joshua to a 4-year, $3.25 million deal. Good signings for Vancouver.
What's crazy is that they now still, I believe this is reflecting... I'm trying to use Puckpedia now because
of Tom's Washington Capitals. Thanks, Tom.
But if it is reflecting correctly, they have $12.99 million left.
I got
to spend
$14.53 to spend,
even after all of those signings.
Dakota Johnson, Tyler Myers, and Teddy Bluger. Yeah, they're all on here.
Wow.
Up $14.53 million in cap space. $3 million in dead money too.
Huh.
Oh.
Which website are you using, Cash?
Come on.
I'm using NHL cap projections by Bruins Cap Space. The guy does like his own.
Okay. Someone
he has all the
cap
teams.
Friendly.
What is cap friendly? I've also sent it to you guys like 8 times, but you usually ignore me. So
I mean, rightfully so. I would ignore you too.
This has my attention now. Hold on. I'm looking at Cap Friendly. Cap Friendly says 12.04 million. Puckpedia says 12.99 million. your site says 14.
14.53. Yep.
And Cap Friendly has 14, but that's cap space with LTIR. That's more moving around.
Oh,
Which one of them is wrong?
All of them.
So
Obviously, Cass is
boy.
Boston one.
This is
Shocking.
something I'm gonna figure out before July 1st. Let me tell you. All right.
I will pay no attention
Moving
to
on.
any of that. Dallas signed Alexander Petrovic to a
Yeah, we talked
two-year
about that one.
7. We talked about that one. Edmonton signed Calvin Pickard, 2 years, $1 million. Utah signed. Go ahead.
That's not a bad thing.
I agree.
mean, what else are you gonna do? Bring
Yeah.
up Jack Campbell?
Good
Yeah,
for him.
right.
Good for him.
Poop soup.
My boy Poop Soup. And please just stop me if I'm going too quickly.
No.
We've got a lot. Utah signed Michael Kesselring to a 2-year, $1.4 million deal. I'm going to read this as the notes say. St. Louis signs Alexander Sexier
No,
to a
we already
2-year,
talked about it.
$2.1 million deal. Alexander Sexier to a 2-year, $2.1 million deal.
It's edited.
It wasn't when I pulled it into my notes. San Jose signed Luke Cunnin to a 1-year, $2.75 million deal. Utah signed Yusuf Alamaki to a 2-year, $2 million deal. This all points to what Ethan thinks of Alexander Texier, is all I'm saying.
We're not even to July 1st yet.
There has been a lot that's happened. I woke up and my phone was just filled with Twitter notifications, filled with notifications from our Freeze the Puck Hockey Discord. A lot has happened, and that's on the day of the draft. This is more than I was anticipating at all this weekend. I was expecting more during last trade deadline.
Oh,
Last year was crazy.
let's play a little game. Where do we think Jake Gensel is going to end up? Amanda, you can go first.
Everyone just say your own team.
I mean, ideally, he stays with the Canes. He's a wonderful, perfect fit. Everything I've read, they're getting closer to a possible contract deal. So fingers crossed that it's the best team in the NHL, which are the Canes, obviously.
No.
Boy, I'll be shocked if he doesn't stay in Carolina. If Carolina is offering that, I'm shocked if he doesn't stay there.
I see.
He's going to Vancouver.
We did just talk about their mysterious number of projected cap space.
He's going to Vancouver. 8x8.
I'm going to say, because someone said it today and I kind of like it and hate it at the same time, I'm going to go Tampa Bay. They just cleared. They still have 16.5 in cap room. So they could easily fit him. Yeah. That's what I'm doing. What about Stamkos?
If they do that, he's gone. Stamkos is gone.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. You think he's staying, Amanda, or do you think he's going somewhere else?
Somewhere else, I think.
But where?
Where in your head? Come on, Amanda. Freaking play along. Jesus Christ.
Jesus, Amanda.
You know what? I'm done after this season. Thank you.
That's fine. Good riddance.
Hi.
No. We need a fact checker. What team? Just guess a team. Any team. Any team.
Utah.
Ooh.
Ooh, I don't hate that.
I don't hate that either, actually.
That'd be
See?
interesting.
I can
Toronto.
have
I'm
two
going
happy
Toronto.
opinions. Thank you.
Jesse?
Oh, boy. You know how bittersweet it would be? Because this means that he would be able to stay in the state of Florida, but he would be going to the other rival in Florida. I'm going to say Panthers.
Jeez. That'd be crazy. That'd be wild.
They have 18.59, but they still need to re-sign Oh boy.
Reinhardt.
Thank you, Reinhardt. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see. I'm going out on a limb with that one.
Oh, I'm fanboying and I'm saying Boston. Just because they have the need. They have the money.
Are you trying to compete with Pittsburgh to be the oldest team?
But the oldest team who actually makes the playoffs, I'll take it.
Now, here's what would be interesting, since we do have just a little bit of time to like play what ifs. There is rumor that Oliver Ekman-Larsson could be leaving Florida.
Really?
If that's the case, maybe Stamkos lands there. Maybe Gunsel lands there.
Wait, what?
Yeah. I saw something
Yeah.
that Ekman-Larsson was in talks with Toronto. I've seen Toronto in talks with a lot of players.
Yeah.
But Ekman-Larsson, he's up for grabs. TJ Brody, we'll see what happens with him. Gustafsson, has he landed somewhere? Has he been re-signed?
Not with the Rangers, no. You're talking about the defenseman, right?
Yeah.
No, not with the Rangers. I don't think they're going to re-sign him, honestly.
John Klingberg.
I'll tell you,
What's
he was
up?
injured all last year, right?
Yeah,
I was going to say, if the
sign.
Bruins don't get either Stamkos, Stevenson, or Lindholm, I'm going to be very upset.
Brandon Montour. He's up for grabs.
Yeah, I'm good.
Alec Martinez. Justin Schultz.
Sean Walker, that'll be an interesting one to watch.
Sean Walker, yeah. And then Chris Tanev, if Toronto doesn't end up signing him.
That is the other big name that I've been seeing floating around for the Canes. I mean, honestly, the Canes have to resign like half of their team anyways.
They've got Shea on there, too. Oh, but he's restricted.
Okay, I was about to say, because I would take Shea over Tavo. That, hands down, that would be my pick. But I don't know, Tavo's another one that I'm just like, I'd hate to see him go, but at the same time, it wouldn't necessarily be a terrible thing. So that's one of those, like, I'm like 50-50. I'm happy if our new GM keeps him. I'm okay if he goes somewhere else.
I also misspoke. Shea is a UFA. My apologies on that one.
So Shea over Tavo, officially.
Yeah, I think that's the right move.
Where's Patrick Kane going to end up? Do you think he's staying in Detroit?
No, I don't.
Where's he going?
Back to the Rangers.
Where's he going? And if you say the flipping Rangers,
Late.
I'm not talking to Amanda. I'm talking to Ethan. If you say the Rangers, I'm disconnecting you from everything right now. You're already done. You're done. You're done.
No, I don't want to say this. I think if the money's right, I think he ends up in Dallas.
Jesus, dude.
I think he's gonna slot in where Pavelski was. I think Pavelski ends up officially retiring.
That wouldn't be bad.
What do you think, Jesse? Where's he going?
There's a lot of talk about a reunion with the New York Rangers. I really don't want that. I would rather take Tarasenko over Kane, honestly. But I do think that Chris Drury is going to do what he can to get him back.
You think the Rangers? Wow.
Yeah.
I'm just going completely off the board, and because they're not afraid to spend money, I'm just going to go with Utah.
I was about to say, like, if I'm one of these guys who's like a hot commodity, I wouldn't say Patrick Kane's the hottest of commodities, but if I'm someone, do what?
They'll draw like fans, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, and it's like it's an exciting place to go. Be part of the pioneer year in Utah. No pun intended. Pioneer Mormons, whatever. But I don't know.
But like,
I was done.
all right, I keep on interrupting.
No, I was done.
No, I was just gonna I was just gonna say there's a lot of younger kids in Utah. You know what I mean? You got Gunther, Doan, Eaton, Cooley, Rouse, so Maselli. So like that like Kane would be good for them. I wouldn't be surprised if you see a couple vets go there. Honestly, we got
Yeah.
24.5 almost million in cash space to use. So,
It's scenic. I think Utah's
Yeah.
beautiful.
If you like scenic, come to Seattle. Just don't live in Seattle. Just come to Seattle.
Live at least 5 hours out, and you're good.
Yeah, you can live in Spokane. Just take a plane. It's 45 minutes. No worries. Go ahead.
yeah,
I was going to ask about
Let's-
Mitch
let's-
Marner.
go ahead.
Does anyone think he goes anywhere other than Vegas?
Other than
Say
Vegas.
Utah, but-
I mean, Utah's got to be out on somebody, right? Like,
Well, like
unless they're in on everybody.
we heard the rumblings from Marner to Vegas, right? A
Yeah.
couple days ago. But now that they've made all these trades, like, I think they're really going to go after. I mean, it is Vegas; they'll go after anyone. They ain't afraid, that's for sure. But
always have-
it's a
you always
matter
have
of
the
do you think they
LTIR.
will? Yeah. Hey, we just got this person. Let's dump him on LTIR.
Well, the
We
rumor
got
was
3.56 in cap space, and Marchessault's UFA, and Schmid. Oh, Schmid's actually an RFA, so he doesn't have a contract right now.
Ooh. The rumor was what? Shea Theodore and was Thompson the other one?
I think it was, yeah.
Oh, snap. Maybe that's not going to happen.
Hmm.
Where do you guys think he
I
goes
just-
while I look it up, or if Amanda's looking it up? I don't know.
I'm sorry, who
I
are
think
we
he's
talking
gonna
about?
stay right where he is.
Mitch
Marner.
Oh, you think he's going to stay in Toronto?
No.
I don't think so.
What are we talking about? Start of the season? He'll still be in Toronto.
No.
Alan in our chat
don't think
says Leafs and Vegas are too cap strapped. Marner will end up staying in Toronto, and management will get tempted to keep him and dip Tavares, inevitably screwing the cap in Toronto even worse.
No, there's no way. There's no way they sign Chris Tanev and talk to all these players and then just end up keeping Marner.
Where's he going?
Seattle.
Oh
I
my
still
God, if
think
you
Vegas.
say Dallas.
No. I still think Vegas. Dallas doesn't have the money.
Amanda?
A lot of Dallas fans want Stamkos, and we don't even have the money for it.
Mad Manda.
I'm thinking. I
The
don't know
smoke
where
from here.
You could smell it from here.
Thanks for that.
I don't know. I think Vegas makes sense. I don't know how they'll make it work, but Alan says I want to hear Ethan make that work. Vegas has $1 million in cap space. How do they get Mitch Marner?
Easy.
Oh, it was Thompson.
Get outta
It was
here.
Thompson, Theodore in a second. What's Thompson getting? Not Thompson, Theodore. I originally heard it was possibly
5.2.
Pietrangelo. So Pietrangelo and Theodore? What's that relieve you in cap space?
He's asking how.
Uh,
That's right. Yeah.
that'd be the question.
Pietrangelo is at 8.8. Shea Theodore is at 5.2.
5.2. That's how you do it.
Okay, Cass, I have an answer for you finally.
Okay.
He goes to Buffalo.
Sucks for you, Mitch Marner.
Imagine,
They
Not
bought
getting out of the
Jeff
first
Skinner.
round. You won't even get in the playoffs.
imagine that though.
Right?
That'd be terrible.
It'd kind of be
Here's-
amazing.
All right. Here's what I think. Here's my actual for sure prediction. Alex Pietrangelo and a second 2025 second. Toronto retains 25%. That's what I.
There you go. That could work.
No, I just hope I'm right. I mean, it's going to be crazy. Whoever the whole contract was stupid, and all of Toronto's recent contracts have been stupid. So they're really just setting themselves up for failure.
How much is he getting paid? Mitch Marner? He's getting 10.9.
Bro.
That's gross.
And here's the other thing. I had this pulled up to mention. The cap is based on the revenue. And because of COVID and all that, we've seen little increases. This last year was a big increase, 5.39%. Cap friendly, while it's still there, it has the estimate for 2025, 2026, and it's estimating at 5.14% of an increase, which would be 92 million.
Nice.
As the cap. That's great. I think it's going to be higher because that revenue. So this year it was 5.39%. Next year it's projected at 5.14%. I think it's going to be higher because now you're not dealing with Mullet Arena, you're dealing with Utah. And Utah is going to drive revenue way up. I think it's higher than 5.14. You could be looking at closer to 6%. Well, maybe not 6%. 5.5.
I know they need to talk with the NHLPA to approve any cap increase over 5%. I saw that last time we were talking about the cap increase.
But what are they going to say?
No, right? Yeah, right. Yeah. One thing I wanted to talk about before we ended, as Ethan blew his nose right into the microphone.
Sorry.
Is that Chris Johnston on Twitter just put out a tweet that says, sources say there is no change to the NHL rights of the Canadian World Junior players that were charged with that sexual assault incident. That means Dylan Dubé, Carter Hart, Michael McLeod, and Cal Foote will become unrestricted free agents if not tendered a qualifying offer by 5 p.m. on Sunday. He continued to say there were discussions between the NHL and NHLPA about potentially changing how the status of those players was treated while the legal process played out, but they ultimately decided against taking that action.
Wait.
Yes.
No.
Yes. That's what it says. Yep.
They just dropped the charges.
No.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
No, they're saying that there's no change to their contract. So they can be tendered a qualifying offer or re-signed by their teams should those teams want to do that.
I don't think any team in the league would touch them at this point.
I agree.
Ridiculous.
I agree.
It puts the Flyers in a tough spot too, because like Carter Hart is their goalie. Like now you can't tender him the qualifying offer because then you're gonna look like you're supporting him. But at the same time, it's like, what happened to innocent until proven guilty? You know what I mean? Like I'm not saying these kids are right. In my mind, they're scumbags and they probably did it. There's too much evidence against them, from what I understand. But at the same time, it's like they're getting screwed here to a certain extent because guilty until proven innocent now.
It's one of those you have to balance it out. Like, yes, you maintain they're innocent until proven guilty, but at the same time, looking out for your brand and your team, no.
We'll sign you to a 9-year deal for $1.
They have to at least get league minimum, Ethan. We'll give you $775,000 to just sit there and do nothing, and hopefully not be guilty, because then that'll make me look like an asshole. So, you know.
Well, you know, in 3 years, the Bruins will probably sign him because just like the Mitchell Miller thing, they'll probably screw this up. So, Carter Hart's
well, I'd say
in 3 years.
Edmonton would be the place if Ken Holland was still there. But, you know, home of Evander Kane.
Oh, speaking of Corey Perry, where is he going to end up? Which team is he going to bring to the Stanley Cup final and lose?
He claims to feel like he's 25.
Where's he going? Quick draw this time.
I'm going to say Carolina.
There you go.
Don't put that juju on us.
Enjoy.
That means they have to win a conference final game. Never mind a Stanley Cup.
I will buy a Corey Perry jersey if he's in Carolina. Nick says he's going to the Rangers, which is obviously a lie.
Thank you, Nick.
Obvious lie.
Say,
Fake news.
I say Penguins.
Just add to the age.
Which age goes against their age total? Is it the I feel 25 or is it his actual age?
Alan
He identifies
says
as a 25-year-old, so it's that one.
Alan says Nick's right. He's going to the Rangers. I changed my stance. He's going to the Kraken.
Did you say Kraken?
Yes. Screw you, Alan.
That's a lose-lose for you, Jesse.
No, it's not. I've been losing watching them play for the last 3 years, so it's fine. I've been losing watching my team play for the last 30 years, so it's fine. I'm used to losing. What do you think, Ethan?
Where's he going?
Well, Seattle, that's all they've known. Losing is all they've known.
It's only been 3 years. Relax. It's only been 3 years.
That's their whole history. For me, okay, I'm going to give an answer, but this isn't my answer, Cass. I'm going to get to my
You can't
answer.
do that.
I think historically it makes sense.
Not really an answer.
No, it's a precursor to my answer. Historically, it makes sense that he ends up on the Florida Panthers because he's done that in the past. He goes to the team he lost to. But I think it'd be great for Utah if they got him. Make it to the Stanley Cup Finals in your first year in Utah? Come on. I mean, you're not going to win, but you make it.
That's actually a good
I'm
guess.
going to say Colorado. I'm going to add that veteran depth.
I'm texting Brandon right now.
They can always use a forward.
Brandon, you're not going to believe what Kat said. You guys are getting Corey Perry next year. Enjoy the final and losing. There you go.
Nick says he doesn't think Zito is dumb.
Zito's not dumb. Zito was... no, I don't think he would do that. Yeah, but there's no young players who have moms on that team, so...
What about Elias Lindholm? Where's he going?
Oh, that's a good question, too. He was getting paid $4.85 million last year. Back to Calgary.
Ooh.
They're trying to get rid of... Calgary's trying to get rid of Nazem Kadri. Yeah.
Eat half of that. I'll take him.
I'd take Nazem Kadri. I like him.
Yeah. Getting old. What was it? He got 4.85 million?
4.85 million. Yes.
How about Edmonton?
That would be a nice addition for them, too. What do you think, Amanda?
I think they're sticking with Skinner, right? Right? They're going to stick with Skinner as their goalie. So, like, the whole goalie thing for Edmonton is out.
He is taken care of, yeah.
Yeah.
I like him in Calgary.
Now, they
I'm
do
gonna
need a
kinda
goalie.
go off the board here, and I'm going to say Nashville.
Oh, I don't hate that either.
What are they
Only
sitting at?
Ryan O'Reilly, Novak, Cody Glass. Oh, he'd be a perfect first line between Forsberg and like
26.3 million.
For Nashville?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't hate that.
Lord.
Yeah.
They're going to make some moves next week.
Daddy Trotz is going to be doing a lot of work.
Oh, and they have all the picks, too. Oh, my gosh.
I mean, nasty, man.
I always forgot about Nashville.
All right, two more, and then we can wrap this up. Tyler Bertuzzi.
Nashville.
Everyone's going to Nashville now. Everyone's going to Nashville, and everyone's going to Utah. Bertuzzi? Jeez. Dude, I have no idea Who could use a guy like Tyler Bertuzzi?
Depends which version of him you get.
Right.
I'd say he's going back to Detroit.
Oh. That's a good one. I have no idea. What do you think, Ethan?
You have no idea. I said I'm sticking with Nashville.
You're sticking with Nashville.
Some of my other ones.
Everyone's.
I love it.
Change everything. Boston.
I don't hate
That's
that
actually
either.
not terrible.
No.
He played for them, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amanda, what do you got?
I think possibly Carolina, especially if we
Yeah,
don't
you could use
re-sign Tavo.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't hate that
All
either.
right, here
They had very
Here we
similar
go.
numbers last year, so wouldn't be
I
terrible.
bet she's probably going to be cheaper too.
Alan said he only plays
Jake
for original
DeBrusk.
6 teams. You guys aren't keeping him, right? You're going to let him walk?
Yeah, I think there's a hard number and they're not hitting him. So.
Hmm. Jake DeBrusk. Who could use a guy like him?
Oh, where did
I
I,
got
see
him-
someone like there was a rumor.
I got him going to Edmonton. He's from around there, and his dad's the play-by-play guy, so I think he's been wanting to go to Western Canada, kind of. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's Edmonton's my pick, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's Edmonton, even Vancouver or Calgary. I think he's going to move out there somewhere.
Nashville. I'm stealing Ethan's playbook.
I love it.
I think Lindholm to Nashville would be a good one too. I'm gonna go for DeBrusk, Detroit.
Well, that's not a bad one.
It's not a bad one either.
They've got 32.7.
I know, it's wild. They have the second most cap space.
Nick in our chat says Bertuzzi to the Canes is interesting, and then he said for DeBrusk, Vancouver.
I don't hate that. Amanda, who do you got DeBrusk going to?
Flyers.
Ooh.
Alan says Seattle.
I lied. I want to do one more. Ilya Samsonov.
Wait. The Flyers though, they only have 4.32 million projected, so that'd be like their move.
Yeah.
What'd you
But
say,
it'd be
Cass?
Where do you, goaltender Ilya Samsonov.
Who can still
Okay.
use a goaltender? Who could still use a goaltender that would be competitive this season?
The Devils.
I think they're
Need
good
another.
with. I think they're good with where they're at. They
Those would be
could
insane.
just chill.
God damn it, Amanda.
Alan says Samsonov to the KHL.
I'll go with San Jose.
Damn it.
Is that
You.
yours?
I said they have to remain competitive, Ethan.
If you can sell him on it. Celebrini, come on.
Jeez. San Jose isn't a bad pick though.
Anaheim's not bad either, actually.
I think Anaheim needs to do a lot of work, and they still have Gibson, who nobody seems to want. I mean, have you heard John Gibson's name come up at all in the last week? Not one
I'm shocked
bit.
they haven't bought him out.
Ooh, I know who I'm going with.
Who?
Calgary.
See, I was going to say Calgary too, but I'm trying to maintain the competitiveness of that.
I was either going to go Calgary or Montreal, but Calgary won out.
I was thinking Montreal too.
Detroit's got room too.
I'll say Montreal.
Amanda, was your choice actually New Jersey?
No,
You guys
We
could use
choose
another goalie.
I was being facetious, Cass.
Who do you got?
Because I legitimately think you, Tom.
Hey,
She's got the Canes.
So would it be
Right.
Samsonov and Ingram, Connor Ingram,
and
or do they roll with
Mika,
the other guy?
or whatever it is.
They just re-signed Yusuf Oh, I'm sorry. He's a defenseman. Never mind.
Jesus, that's it.
I corrected myself. Relax. Who is their other goaltender?
Vamelka.
Vamelka. That's right. They're very similar in names. That's why.
Yes.
No, they've got. I
The-
think they've got
the-
both of their guys.
There's a lot of money to go around, considering how tight last year's free agency was. There's a lot of dough to spend. I wouldn't be surprised if you see a lot of, especially with the caps going up as much as we know they will be for the next of many years.
There's going to be a lot of moves to be had come Monday. We're going to have a lot to talk about.
Gosh,
Yeah, it's gonna
what'd you
make
guess,
this league
Cass?
even more diverse, which is gonna be awesome. I have Samsonov going to Calgary.
Oh, you went Calgary.
I
Okay.
think they have Dustin Wolf coming straight out of the AHL, and they have Dan Vladar. I think he's gonna sign there, stay in Canada.
Calgary's got to make a move for someone. They got rid of
Lee
Markstrom,
Kadri.
right? So. The one
Eventually,
thing I
if the
will say,
Bruins lose out. Yep, go ahead.
I was just gonna say about the Ducks really quick. While they do have
Right.
the highest projected cap space, they do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 RFAs and 2 UFAs. So they just have not done anything.
They haven't
so
done
far.
nothing. They haven't done
None of those
nothing.
RFAs
I mean, they've got
are
work
like
to do.
huge, right?
No.
Well, no. You know what I mean? So, and that's with paying a goaltender $6.4 million who sucks. So,
And 6 of their 7 RFAs are eligible for arbitration. If I'm those players, take me to arbitration, baby.
That's going to be rough.
please.
Nick in our chat says for Samsonov, if the Flyers could do it, I was going to say that initially. I was thinking the same thing, honestly, but I don't think they're going to be able to do that for him.
They got that massive guy from the KHL. What's his face?
Fedorov.
Fedotov. Yeah.
Federer.
No,
Well-
I think Carolina gets the crown jewel though. Jake Gunsel.
From your ear, from your mouth, you are Jim's ears.
Boo.
I'm not talking
think-
chemistry.
Well, lady and gents, I think that's it. That is
Okay.
it. Cass is going to go to sleep. Thank you so much for watching on Twitter, X, Facebook, YouTube. If you want to follow us there, that's Top Shelf Dusters on all of those things. Check us out. We appreciate
And are we doing one more episode?
I believe we are doing one more
For the
episode.
season?
Yes.
We'll
Yes.
figure it out.
Yeah.
Depends how heavy Monday and Tuesday are.
I know that I would like to have my Saturdays so I can go out and do things, like I said last week, before the sun goes away, because it will eventually.
You have no life.
That is correct. You can catch us on all of those social medias. Thank you so much for watching and listening. We appreciate it. And we will catch you next week. Have a good one, y'all.